Welcome back to the library, dear wanderers. Today we're gonna head back to Library Wing 1, the Hidden Nest, back to the first Oak's shelf where we'll pick up the first work we see. This one was brought to the library by Limmy. Now without further ado, they are wrong. No longer was I content with living in this world, and that simply should not be. I am not above admitting I was shaken. This was wrong, imperfect. For the first time I can recall, I felt fear overwhelm me. I ran. The destination was irrelevant. Reality built itself in front of me and collapses the minute I take my foot off the ground. There was no thought, no design, just instinct. Masterpieces of architecture give way to crumbling brick towers until all that conjures up are barely coherent shapes and shadows trying to emulate the real. An abstract path of shapes and patterns, not entirely unlike the corporeal world, struggles to keep up with me as I desperately try to escape my own mind. I do not know how long I was running. It may have been a minute. It may have been an eternity. I stop at the feet of a half-formed castle towering over me. Incomplete. Struggling to form a monument in my image, but for the first time I can recall, I cannot decide. Waves of matter oscillate in and out of existence as the structure warped and folded to fit an image that didn't exist. I couldn't make it perfect. I couldn't make it at all. Cautiously, I take a step into the accursed structure. It is a skyscraper, allowing me to survey the glitching fields for miles about. It is a dank dungeon, hundreds of meters underground from sunlight's reach. It is a castle, a minka, a daka, and everything in between. The stone beneath my feet stays stable as the building flexes between the real and irreal, desperate to answer a question that was never asked. And then there is a face. At the center of it all, there is a face. It stares at me. I wander, and its eyes follow me. It is barely a face, more an abstract mess of shapes and colors blending and mixing in and out of existence. But the weight of two eyes that stare at me is suffocating, pressing down upon my very being. I wish for it to be gone, and yet it remains. I rush away from it, deeper into the rapidly shifting labyrinth, and yet it remains. I run down a pulsating corridor to escape, and yet it remains, staring from a distance. This isn't a simulacrum. It does not listen to me, and it has such weight, such being. I feel an eternity of life and experience and suffering bore into the back of my skull. This is a person, and they are wrong. With shaking legs, I walk towards it. 1 step, it stares. 2 steps, it stares. I inch towards it until there is no room left for me to stall and no room left for it to give. The castle ceases to shift, and we are in a prison, brutalist and functional in its design. The unperson looks at me, and I look back. Without words or thoughts, it says so much. It conveys anguish, pain, feelings I do not have words for, and words I cannot accurately recall. I imagine 1,000 lifetimes of sorrow and agony, an existence divorced from... And I remember them as if they were my own. Tears well in my eyes as I live the unlife this soul has suffered through as I reach towards it in sympathy. It screeches. It screams a cry of static and white noise, deafeningly loud. The sound fills my every thought as the prison around us dissolves into a black void. I desperately offer help. I beg of it, plead with it to see any reason at all. It just stares at me and lets out its screech that shakes me to my very core. I apologize. I'm sorry for it, for myself, for forcing such an imperfect being to live in a perfect world, for it to see heaven, and for it to be just barely out of reach. I'm sorry for existing, for ever allowing a world where it suffers as it does and I live as I do. It does not forgive. It does not forget. It screams and static overwhelms me. I fade out and there is nothing. An eternity passes and I am again. Glowing green grass ebbs and flows around a collapsed pile of rocks in an endless expanse. A reality that allows that from before to exist can never be perfect. It can never be right. I pull myself to my feet and look into infinity. Something is inherently wrong about this. What I am should never have been. I am filled with a single purpose. I must find answers. But first I must find the questions. And with what I can only assume is the memory of a patterned screamer, we will move on to our next work. This one, as far as I can tell, was brought to the library by Parallel Potatoes, though the exact author isn't quite specified in the article. So, without further ado, let's get right into it, and if you do know the author, please tell me in the comments. A selection of wayward prayers. Prayer origin, Stephen Reft. Prayer recipient, Kolash the Blood God. Prayer method, a circle drawn in untouched salt doused with the blood of a lamb killed before its final bleed. Purpose. Stephen has reported enmity with his co-worker, Sally White. He requested that Kolash the Blood God kill Sally via ripping her limb from limb, draining her blood, painting it on the walls for all to see. Boil her skull and burn her brains. Show her what happens when she turns in her accounting sheet late. Show them all the glory of Kolash. Prayer status, denied. Actions taken to fulfill the prayer are not applicable, as none have been taken. Additional notes. Kolash has declined this prayer on the grounds that, as the god of blood, it is her job to make sure it stays where it belongs, inside its owner's bodies. She also stated that she is appalled she received a request of this nature, and asked that all future prayers from Stephen be discarded. Prayer origin, Riley Pine. Prayer recipient, Hosen, god of the flock. Prayer method, a stray thought after a day of hard labor. Purpose, Riley expressed a desire to eat chicken. The exact content of the prayer was, I'm so hungry I could probably eat 1,000 chickens. I pray that I have enough food at home. Prayer status, fulfilled. Actions taken to fulfill prayer. 1,000 live chickens have been sent to Riley's single-bedroom apartment. Additional notes. Hosen has expressed confusion as to how a lone human could slaughter, cook, and eat 1,000 chickens for a single meal. He was subsequently informed that Riley likely only intended to cook and eat the chickens himself, as it is not his profession to slaughter them. Hosen sent an additional 1,000 dead chickens as an apology. Prayer origin, Catherine Doyle. Prayer recipient, Arika Pal, mother of happy accidents. Prayer method, a spoken word at an altar to a false god. Purpose, Catherine has expressed disgust at her neighbor's lemon poppy seed muffins that are set to be sold at the neighborhood bake sale. Prayer status, fulfilled. Actions taken to fulfill prayer. Catherine's neighbor won the lottery. Additional notes. The funds that were intended to be raised at the bake sale were acquired via lottery. As such, the bake sale was cancelled and the muffins were discarded. Erica Powell stated that she didn't actually care about fulfilling the prayer and only wanted to reward the neighbor for making some good muffins. Prayer origin: Riley Payne. Prayer recipient: Jolish the Hunter. Prayer method: a scream of frustration. Purpose: Riley requested aid in removing an excessive amount of chickens from his residence. "Get the fuck out of here or I'll hunt you down, I swear to God," was the exact prayer. Status: fulfilled. Actions taken to fulfill prayer: 200 wolves have been sent to Riley's residence to consume the excess chickens. Additional notes: Riley appeared to express extreme dissatisfaction with this prayer fulfillment. However, Jilish declined to send additional wolves, as the current wolves will likely struggle to find adequate prey after the chickens have been consumed. Additionally, Jilish was offended by Riley's lack of gratitude towards the prayer fulfillment, and strongly considered asking his wolves to hunt Riley. Prayer origin: Marianne Frank. Prayer recipient: Form, God of Fire. Prayer method: a burning circle of firewood with 3 rocks in the center. Purpose: Marianne requested that Form send her a friend. Prayer status: declined. Actions taken to fulfill prayer are not applicable. Additional notes: Form declined to fulfill this prayer as a fire elemental would likely endanger Marianne. Additionally, Form already considers Marianne to be a friend, and believes that this was only an elaborate way to ask Form to hang out. Form prepared a picnic basket and had lunch with Marianne the next day. Prayer origin: the first beavers, millennia ago. Prayer recipient: Holan, God of Civilization. Prayer method: 3 carvings in the oldest tree of the forest. Purpose: the beavers reported a dislike of the river going through their forest, as it was fast-flowing and difficult to cross. The exact content has been omitted due to excessive use of offensive slurs targeting rivers. Prayer status: fulfilled. Actions taken to fulfill prayer: beavers taught to build dams. Additional notes: Holan reported that the beavers were excellent students, and was excited to teach them how to build hydroelectric power plants. However, the Divine Council intervened, as it was believed the beavers would not use electricity in good faith. The beavers were encouraged to make a formal apology towards rivers regarding their initial prayer if they wished to contest this decision. Prayer origin: Riley Pine. Prayer recipient: Yoloth, God of Dreams. Prayer method: a pained cry in the 3rd hour of the night. Purpose: Riley has requested that his nightmare of being overwhelmed with wolves and chickens be ended. Prayer status: declined. Actions taken to fulfill prayer: not applicable. Additional notes: Yoloth declined this prayer on the grounds that Riley's abundance of wolves and chickens was reality, and not a dream, as is Yoloth's domain. Riley has been blacklisted from the prayer system due to overuse, and it is recommended that all gods discard any future prayers from Riley. The blacklist is set to expire 3 eons after Riley's death in the mortal world. Poor Riley Pine. Either way, though, that is the end of our reading for today, dear wanderers. Thank you very much for coming. It has been an honor reading for you. Good luck out there. Hope to see you all next time. And make sure to take a deep breath, stretch out, and find somewhere to relax. See you all next time.